by you. I'll be your everything, your blue sky.
I always get excited to make episodes like today because today is going to be an episode dedicated to somebody that messaged me on Instagram. So I'm not going to say her name, but she's a bio mom. She's dealing and she's going through a scenario with a boyfriend who's going to be coming in and they're going to be getting married soon. But she has some questions and concerns as it pertains and relates to her as the mom, as the bio mom, and any advice that I can give soon to be stepdad as he's trying to make tangible and meaningful connections with the kids. So I'm going to read it to you and then we're going to kind of go into it. So, good morning. I came across your podcast on Spotify. I am a bio mom of 2 girls, 10 and 14, and my boyfriend has 1 boy, 18. We have been together a little over a year and he has recently moved in. His son lives away for college. As expected, we have come into some challenges with the step-parent role, quotations, because we are planning on marriage, but not married yet. I'm looking for insight on how to create a positive relationship or relationships going forward and navigating the hard times. Your podcast has given me great perspective. Do you have any recommendations for podcast pages of bio moms bringing in a new partner? Any tips on what you can do as a bio parents to help establish a good environment for both our partner and our kids? First of all, this is an amazing question. And here's the reason why it's an amazing question, because I'm always preaching about how I want stepdads to really work on themselves before they work on their marriage, before they work on the communication relationship with the kids. And most of the questions or topics that I talk about and discuss on this show are directly related to questions, comments, or emails sent to me from stepdads or from soon-to-be stepdads. So when I make an episode like today, this is specifically directed to Biomom because Biomom is actively seeking out ways to make sure that the transition for her boyfriend within the blended family, not necessarily is smooth because there's no such thing as a smooth transition, but she's looking to create an environment that establishes a good foundation for her family as they move forward when it comes to how to communicate with the kids, how to build relationships and stuff between her and her soon-to-be husband or whenever they get engaged. So this is why I get so excited about these, because this is a bio mom, and a lot of times this can be overlooked. As stepdads, we always have this notion and this vision of how we want our family to be, how it's going to be, how you're going to make these connections with the kids and how your relationship's going to thrive and how you're going to get stronger as a man, leader, and father. And then you get into the thick of things and you realize fairly quickly that that's not how it goes at all, especially if you don't have any sort of like compass, any North Star, anything to aim for, any tangible goals. And most important, information that's going to help you succeed and navigate and overcome obstacles, not necessarily breaking through obstacles or trying to, jump over them, sometimes creatively finding ways around them. So we're just going to kind of go right into it. So first, we're going to discuss how his relationship with her younger daughter, right, who's 10, and her relationship with her older daughter, who's 14, they have different relationships. He's really found his way and his footing with his younger daughter. The relationship is solid. It's beginning to grow. It's beginning to, he's planting the seeds and he's watering it every day. But the relationship that he has with the 14-year-old is not so much. And not because he's doing anything wrong per se, but because the older the kids, the harder it is to tear down their walls, to find out exactly how they tick. And a big mistake that we make as stepdads, a huge mistake that we make, is we try to force our way in. We try to force our way to love, to respect, to building these relationships with the kids so they can learn to trust us. And I've talked about this a lot, that trust is earned. It comes over time. So right off the bat, when you're having a problem connecting with the older kid, because again, the older ones are always going to be the harder ones to connect to because they've been there the longest, they're closest to mom, they're very protective of her, especially if they witnessed anything that she went through before she began this new relationship. So you got to remember, stepdad, and this is directed specifically towards the stepdad in this specific scenario. You have to remember that it's not that she wants to disrespect you, or it's not that she wants to ignore you, or it's not that she wants to give you such a hard time and make you work for it. But she is protecting not only herself and not only her heart, but she's protecting her mom. She's protecting her younger sister, right? And it's kind of her job to be a little bit of a pain in the ass. Where you can't make the mistake and where you don't want to go wrong is trying to force your way in there. As the kids grow, even from right here, from 10 to 14, as they grow, as they get older, as they mature, their love language is going to change, right? So stepdad, if you really want to learn, if you really want to make those meaningful connections with your 14-year-old, if you really want to start establishing those relationships, do me a favor and take a step back. And I want you to really look at her for who she is, what she does. What is she into? What is she not into? What music is she listening to? What kind of movies does she watch? What's her favorite food? Her favorite Starbucks drinks? Like all these little things, you need to start taking these notes, meticulous notes about her. Because until you can know who she is and how she ticks, until you can understand her as a person and as a young woman, you will never be able to make those meaningful connections through communication because you'll have no way to talk to her. And then you want to start doing these daily or weekly surprises or like things for her, just to show her you're listening, just to show her you're paying attention. More important, just to show her that you're trying. An example would be, let's just say her favorite Starbucks drinks is a caramel macchiato from, maybe she goes to school every day, and when she gets home, she immediately gets to work for her homework. So maybe she's coming home, you go to Starbucks, you get her a drink, you put it on her desk with nothing on it, just a note, or not even a note, or you could say something like, got you your favorite drink, and that's it. Leave it at that. Don't anticipate or expect anything from her. Don't anticipate or expect any thank yous or I appreciate it. If you get it, awesome, but don't overreact to it, right? You are planting seeds. You are slowly, progressively moving forward, learning who she is and learning how to communicate with her. When it comes to the reasons she protects her younger sister and her mom is simply because she was present when everything happened in their life before you stepped into the picture, stepdad. And some of the stuff you'll never find out about, or some of the stuff you'll just never understand because they went through it, they experienced it, and until they're ready to share it with you, it's none of your business. So your job as a stepdad, as a man, a leader, and a father, as an individual who's trying to make meaningful connections in your home, your job is just to stay patient. In the meantime, work on yourself, stepdad. Try to figure out why you're all up in arms because your 14-year-old is not giving you the respect that you feel like you deserve. Or maybe you're just a little bit down on yourself, stepdad, because you're losing your confidence as a man. You're losing your confidence as this individual that is going to step into this blended family because you thought it was going to be a lot easier than it ended up being. It's supposed to be hard. It's supposed to be a challenge. Working for the respect, love, admiration, acceptance, value, trust, working towards those, either with mom or with the kids, working towards it takes time. And you know it as well as I do. I had this mentor of mine once said that a best friend can never be a best friend until you go through some tough shit. Then if you come out on the other end and you still have a close relationship, or if your relationship has grown, there's a best friend because you've been through something. You've tested it. You've tested your limits of your friendship and you made it through. Same thing applies here. You got to not only wait and you got to test the limits and you got to go through some shit. And then when things happen, or regardless of what it is, you need to prove and you need to demonstrate that you're not going anywhere, that you can be trusted, that you're there to listen, that you're there not to solve everyone's problems. You're there to be the protector and to love and to value and to cherish the women in your family. But your job is not to, nor should your job ever be to force your way into a relationship because you want them to value you or you want them to respect you. It's just not how it works. So Mom, I love the fact that you're sending in questions, and I love the fact that you're reaching out because you really want to do whatever it takes in order to move forward in the future with your family so that it is loving and caring and strong and it lasts a very long time. I get it. One of the things you can do is you can start working on yourself. See, here's the thing that you have to remember that we're never going to understand, not only as men, but as potential step-parents and stepfathers in a new family. We don't know what you went through. You can share it with us. You can provide us information. You can tell us all the ins and outs. But we weren't there. We don't know how jaded your heart is, how protected you have to be. We don't know where you sit as far as like trust, not only with men, but trust with people around your kids. There's a lot of things that you have to work on for yourself because you have to remember that stepdad can only feel like he's making progress in your family if he feels that you are on the same team as him. And you can only be on the same team if you learn to trust one another. So for you, BioMom, your trust is going to come with letting him in. Maybe not all the way in the beginning, because again, there's a sense of, you got to establish a sense of like longevity and trust with him. You got to make sure that he's the one. I get it. We understand it, but you got to kind of let go of the rope a little bit because we need to know that we're on the same team. We need to know that, you have our backs just like we have yours. And that's a conversation that you two have to have together. You have to present a united front. It has to be that way. And you have to constantly remind each other to stop trying so hard. Love and respect and value each other. Love and respect and value yourselves. And the kids will learn to love and respect and value you and themselves as well. They have to see it demonstrated. They have to see you guys going through it, talking about it, expressing love and hugs and kisses in front of each other. Even if they do things like, ew, who cares? None of that matters. Because remember, when your bond and your relationship is tight and nothing can break it, absolutely nothing can break the relationship. Absolutely nothing can break the bond of the family because you guys are going at it together. Where step parents and bio moms or bio dads or whatever the bio parents and the step parents, where things go wrong and where most problems end up it's because you're kind of like on your separate islands, right? Like you have this one main island, and this one main island is like with the family, and it's where the kids are, your house is, the dogs, the cats, the jobs, all this stuff. And this is where you should be living with your partner. This is how you establish a community with your family. This is how you establish trust, and this is how you establish good relationships with one another. But for the problem with it is that most bio parents and step parents start out or on the same island, but then they gradually retreat to their separate islands because of insecurities, confidence, like I said, being jaded or being hurt from past relationships, and you don't want to let somebody in. Don't test him too much. Mind you, definitely test him because you want to make sure that he's the one. Not only is he going to be the man, leader, and father in your home, but he's going to be the man, leader, and father to the kids. He's going to be somebody that is going to be there and somebody you can run ideas off of and love one another. And the longer you keep him out and the longer you wait to establish that team, the longer it's going to take for you to have a cohesive family that bond together and that can, move forward into the future. So it's. I wish there was like a one line answer. Like you're having a problem with your 14-year-old. Here's the book to do it. There you go. But that's just not it, because kids are amazing, but kids also suck. Kids are going to test you. Kids are going to make sure that you're listening. Kids are going to try to do things to press your buttons and to get you to leave. Trust me, I know. My oldest daughter tried to get me to leave several times. It's a test. Can you take it? Are you willing to do whatever it takes to get past this? That's a question you have to ask yourself, stepdad. Biomoms, That's a question you have to ask yourself as well. Yes, the kids are going to test him, but can you be on his side? Can you have each other's back? Can you learn to communicate with one another so that your family can see a united front? And if you can't get there, it won't work. And if it does work, it'll take so much longer than it needs to take. And you're gonna end up, regretting some things along the way. And I don't want that at all. So I know he's trying. I know he's working his ass off. I know he's hurt. I know maybe he feels deflated or he's losing his self-confidence. But Bio Mom, that's your job. Your job is to sit him down. You two talk. I'm on your team. You're on my team. We're doing this together. Bio Mom, address your past. Mend your heart. Do you really want him there? That's a question you have to ask yourself. Do you want this man there? Or are you just settling because you're lonely? Real question. If you really want him there and has nothing to do with settling or being lonely, amazing. So now it's time to kind of let down your guard a little bit. Let him in. Get to know him. Let him get to know you. And then move forward. United front. Work on your own shit. He'll work on his own shit. You guys talk about your shit and you move forward with some shit. That's honestly the best advice that I can give you. So as far as like podcasts for bio moms that are inviting men into their family because they're a blended family, I know a couple as far as like step parenting ones, but I don't know a lot of bio mom ones, and I would be curious to find out if there's any out there. But I would highly recommend that you take a moment and you write down all the things that you love about him. Take a moment and write down all the things that you want to accomplish within the next year, not only with your relationship with your family. Sit down with him and talk. Write goals out together and then make a promise to one another that you are going to do whatever it takes to accomplish these goals as a team. Don't be separate. Don't go on a separate island. It's going to take time. It's going to take patience. You know this. You've been listening to the episodes. But where you sit right now, when you're asking yourself, like, what do I have to do to kind of to create a better environment for not only him, but for my kids? Step one, go work on your own shit, dude. Go work on your mended heart. Go work on learning to let go. If your ex cheated on you, or he was abusive, or maybe he neglected you physically and emotionally. I don't know. There's so many different ways that can go. How long are you going to hold on to it? How long are you going to continue to compare and contrast to this new man? How long are you going to be looking for red flags? Because I can tell you this, and this I know for a fact, the search for something wrong can always be found. If he's there, if he's listening to my episodes, if he's listening to you, if he's actually being like responsive to your suggestions, then that means he's wanting to be better. He's wanting to do better. He's wanting to be the very best for you, Mom. Remember, the kids are a bonus. Kids are going to come. Kids will come later down the road. It's not about establishing the right environment for the kids and this potential stepdad. It's about establishing the right team between you and him. It's about learning to deal with your own shit and then letting go. That's what it's going to take. If you can do that, if you can start, you can sit down and you can talk. And like I said, write down your goals, individual ones for yourself, ones for your family. You'll have a game plan. You'll have a plan of attack. You'll have a blueprint to look at. And then you can move forward at a steady pace together, not separate. I hope that helps. All right, guys, that's the episode. Thanks again for watching, for listening. I really appreciate each and every one of you. So much. Have an amazing day, everyone. Be well. Hey, thanks for listening to the show. Listen, if you know a stepdad who is in need of any of this information, do me a favor right now. Hit that subscribe button and share this episode with them as fast as possible. Did you do it? Okay, you did it. You hit this. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Quiet on the set, please. Thank you, everybody.